This preview brought to you by Harness Racing Victoria.
Adam Hamilton joining you to have a look at a magnificent card of harness racing tonight. It's the Melton Plate. There's also the Markovina Free-for-All and the Scotch Notch Memorial. Those races honouring some great harness horses of times gone by. And the Melton Plate, well, could be a little bit of history tonight with Chancellor Cullen trying to become the first horse to win two Melton Plates, back-to-back Melton Plates. We'll talk more about him shortly. Caribbean Blaster against Smokin' Up in the Markovina Free-for-All, and Elegant Image trying to continue his magnificent start to this campaign and make it 4 from 4. He'll be deep odds on to do so in the Scotch Notch Memorial Trot. But let's get into this program now. There's 10 races. The first race at 5:28, and I'm going with the Tasmanian here, Hugo Play. Certainly been tremendous over in Tasmania. Came over here, and the run last week after doing a power of work was absolutely first rate. I think this is actually a little bit of a drop in grade. Outside of the back row is never easy at Melton, but to be honest, I think Hugo Play is probably just better than these horses on what we saw last week. So number 13 on top for me. To beat GK Galleon, who does move in one spot now, drawn outside of the front row, having a really good campaign this time round. Does move into 6 with the scratching of the emergency number 5. Very good second at Ballarat last start. Number 12, Good Time Jasper, had 2 terrific runs back from a spell, then led but was savaged in front last week and actually wasn't disgraced. Got a little bit tired late. Maybe better off drawn the back row and not having to be used up early and pressured in front. And best of the rest, to be honest, Narra Operative's been a little disappointing in recent times, but any form around Jazz King is good. Beaten a long way, but a pretty good second last start. Jazz King has come out and won again last night at Ballarat. Jazz King airborne. Certainly the form line looks okay for Narra Operative. In race 1, I'm going for the Tasmanian with a bit of confidence to start the night. 13 ahead of 7, 12 and 8. Let's go to race 2 now. One of the most exciting horses on this program, as far as a lowly assessed horse on the way up, is Hilltop Hustler. I think anybody who's seen him marching through the grades would be impressed with him. I want to go back and have a look at his most recent run, Hilltop Hustler. He's my standout bet of the night. Now, this is a Cranbourne on the leash, has bowled along in very, very quick times in front here. Hilltop Hustler, I just like the way he's had to chase from a mile out. But let's have a look at Michael Stanley on him in the final stages.
And Hilltop Hustler is opening up and racing away. So Stanley with a double, only interest in the minor spots. Hilltop Hustler is down second, may go on the leash, just in front of Real Grit and Minty Choice out wide. Did a good job coming from the back. Classic Falcon. And
yeah, he's a quality horse, this guy. I mean, the sectional times late were pretty much as quick as you get at Cranbourne. He was 3 wide doing it. I just love the way that when he got to the front, he put the race away quickly and he cruised to the line. Look, he'll win. He'll be short. He's the anchor for your multis tonight, and we might be able to load up and get a quid for the rest of this tremendous program. Hilltop Hustler, absolutely sensational record since coming from New Zealand. He's a standout. Number 3, Hexham Heartbeat. Former really good quality mares. Come back with 2 wins from 2 starts this prep. Okay winning at Ballarat last start when she led. I'd still like to see improvement. She'll need to improve to beat Hilltop Hustler. For third, I'm popping in number 9, Metro Mint. Good fourth to Hexham Heartbeat at Ballarat last start. Certainly did enough there to stay in the picture. And Alta Tearaway was pretty good in that similar form line race last time. But in all honesty, Hilltop Hustler looks to have far more upside than his rivals tonight. That one little query, it's only the sprint 1720 metre trip, and he has drawn the back row. 10, 3, 9 and 8 for me in race 2. Third event tonight is for the Trotters, and this is pretty much similar suspects that went around last week and fought out a race. The 2 major chances, Gold Star Invasion and Bryland Crescent, look as though they're the ones to beat again. On face value, you'd have to say that Gold Star Invasion gets its chance to turn the tables. Did a bit of work in the middle stages, then in the latter stages, and went down fighting, albeit beaten quite a space by Bryland Crescent last week. I'm going to go with Bryland Crescent, though. I just think that David Aiken's got this former Kiwi right back in the zone, and Bryland Crescent's form of around March, April of this year indicated that Bryland Crescent was going to go places. Back row draw, you're still going to get odds. I think Gold Star Invasion Invasion will be favourite to turn the tables. I'm going to stick with that winning form of Bryland Crescent. More upside, more straight-out talent, I think. To beat number 4, Gold Star Invasion. Number 11, Brief Glance, is a take-on trust proposition. Put it all together, this former Vicbred winner to win well too. Starts back in traffic and never really a factor last time. So manners are going to be ultra important here, obviously, from the standing start, with Bryland Crescent going back to that 10 metres in Gold Star Invasion off the front. Posimistic might be best of the rest. 6th last week, but really had no luck back in traffic. 12 to beat 4, 11 and 5 in the standing start trot, race 3. We go to race 4, and we've got a $25,000 quaddie jackpot going into this meeting tonight. Great to see tab.com.au getting behind it with the big jackpot. I'll give you my thoughts in a summary on the quaddie a little bit later on, but let's have a look at this first leg. In the first leg, it's a tricky race simply because of the barrier draw. The mare Maastricht, I think, is the best pacer in the race, but will she have the gate speed first up from a spell to hold the lead in what looks a very, very sharp front line? Most notably, Fairest One You Are, who began like on roller skates last week. There's a reminder of that $25,000 jackpot. Race 4, first leg of the quaddie, starting at 9 minutes past 7. So I'm going to go with Maastricht, but gate speed is going to be all important here. If she can hold it or even hold leaders back, I still think she's the one to beat. Now, Shake It Mama was a former elite level young filly, has not quite gone on with the job as a mare. She came back to racing and worked a little bit early to find the front, and then won quite well without getting carried away. She's been freshened up since. Just on Maastricht quickly, resuming from a break, but did win a Mildura trial back on the 20th of September to sharpen up for this. Please Don't Talk I put in for 3rd, but you're really relying on Maastricht holding the lead for Please Don't Talk to follow it out from inside the back row. And Fairest One You Are began brilliantly to lead and held them off in a much easier race last week, but Jeff Walker has got this this mare in absolutely tip-top form for this race, Fairest One You Are, and sometimes when they're in the zone they can step up through the grades quickly. Still, question mark on the gate speed, but I like Maastricht. I think she's the best mare in the race at this stage of her career. 1, 10, 8 and 6 in race 4. Now we get to the first of the real features tonight. Smokin' Up against Caribbean Blaster. Yes, Caribbean Blaster beat him quite well first up, but the barrier draws have made this race really interesting, and I fully expect that Smokin' Up will be the favourite in this race tonight. He'll almost certainly just go to the front from barrier 3. He's probably lost a little bit of his speed, and that's why I think he could be vulnerable even if he leads tonight. But he sat outside of the leader when Caribbean Blaster came from just off the pace and simply beat him for speed first up. Let's go to this race now. Melpark Major in front, Smokin' Up outside the leader, and Caribbean Blaster started to run at about the 500 metres. Watch his speed here though, Blaster.
Up to hit the lead. Melpark Major can't go on. Smokin' Up battles on as he always does, but Caribbean Blaster's got them. First up, Caribbean Blaster wins it. Second, Smokin' Up. Third, St Flash. Fourth is close. Jack and Flight and Wartime Sweetheart. Melpark Major weekend.
Now, mathematically, you'd have to say that on that performance, if Smokin' Up leads on the marker pegs and Caribbean Blaster's got to come around and sit outside of him, then Smokin' Up gets his chance to turn the tables. I think what Caribbean Blaster has got that what Smokin' Up hasn't anymore is that little turn of sharpness. Smokin' Up is an amazing war horse. He's lost whatever brilliance he had as he's got older, but he's still got all the fighting qualities. I think Caribbean Blaster will beat him for speed tonight. I like him, number 9, Caribbean Blaster, to beat number 3, Smokin' Up. The reason I make him actually a value bet, as bizarre as it sounds, is I don't think he'll be favourite. I think Smokin' Up will be favourite, and clearly so tonight. Melpark Major clearly doesn't enjoy being used off the gate anymore. He was too disappointing last start. Inside the back row is not ideal, but at least it means he'll be driven sit sprint. And American Muscle was simply fantastic towards the end of last prep, but he comes back in the deep end against these boys. He's had a lot of trials. He ran second to Chancellor Cullen back on the 24th of September at Melton, but the back row draw negates his number 1 asset, which is gate speed. Caribbean Blaster 9 to beat 3, 8 and 10 in a ripper Markovina free-for-all race 5. Let's go to the 6th event tonight. Shane Cramp comes down from the the Sunraysia. We spoke about one of his runners in Maastricht earlier on. Jamie's Boy will be one of the favourites here, drawn barrier 1. And a little bit like Maastricht, gate speed's going to be all important. Jamie's Boy has been able to find the front and win both runs this preparation in tremendous fashion. If he can hold the front again, he probably will just win again. That's the sort of horse he is. He's got a lot of upside to him. He comes in well graded after those all those wins he's had in the Sunraysia region. Gate speed's going to be the key. If he can hold it, I mean, he beat Bella's Delight, albeit after getting an easy run in front 2 starts back, and then went to Mildura and won well in an easier race. Putting him on top, but the gate speed again, the question mark. Catch Your Breath is drawn inside of the back row. Had to do too much work last time. Previous form absolutely first rate, and if he sits behind Jamie's Boy and gets a sprint lane, he'll be dangerous late. One of the most interesting runners at the meeting is the mare Pembroke Caesar, who roared through the grades, about 10 wins last season, but hasn't been seen for a long time. Ran second to Magical Telf at the Melton trials on September 24. Her best form would be very, very dangerous in a race like this. And Lama Shane is a mare who is not what she was as a youngster, but can be competitive at least for a minor spot here. 1, 8, 9 and 4 from me in race 6. Let's go to race 7. It is the feature. It's the $50,000 Melton Plate. One trainer, Dean Braunwell, he's been away on holidays. He's come back with a smorgasbord of runners as far as this race goes. He's got Rule Like a King drawn 1, Magical Telf drawn 2, and he's got Chancellor Cullen, who will be the favourite and is the favourite. We're going to have a look at that market now. $1.70 Chancellor Cullen. Far too short for mine. I'll tell you why in just a moment. Restrepo at $3.60. Magical Telf and Regal Knight at $9. Rule Like a King at $10, and then Fearless Leader at $14. Well, Chancellor Cullen, let's just analyse him a little bit and then I'll give you my selections. Chancellor Cullen was sensational last campaign. I mean, he beat Caribbean Blaster. Then he went over to Perth and went amiss. That was late last year. Now, he's had the one run back. It was nothing more than a trial. He led. That's Mr Ali sat on his back and held ground, probably pulled ground off him late. That's Mr Ali was then no factor in a recent claiming series. He's been back to the trials, and last weekend he was, or just over a week ago, he was pretty good again at the trials. Magical Telf's been to the trials as well, so I just don't know where he sits, Chancellor Cullen. He's a great chance with his stablemates here of rolling forward and getting the lead, and he'll be hard to beat if he does, but I couldn't be on him at $1.70. Restrepo, look, we know he's an enigma, but he's got all the ability in the world. Speaking of trials, he went to Ballarat last weekend, 2,200 metre trial, last mile in 1:55.8, home in 55.2, 28.9. So clearly he was given a really good workout in the middle stages of that trial. I'm going to go for a Restrepo-driven sit sprint here. I just think at the 360 I'd rather be on him than the shorts for Chancellor Cullen. Putting in Regal Knight for third. He's got better with every run this campaign. He was just arrogant winning last start, but in a much easier race. And Magical Telf goes into it with really good form, and he did win that trial at Melton back on the 24th of September. His stablemate Rule Like a King has got to be a place chance as well from barrier 1. Restrepo, because of the value at the fixed odds, 9 to beat 7, 4 and 2 in the Melton Plate. The other feature is the Scotch Notch Memorial for the Trotters tonight, and he's going to be short here. Let's take a look at the fixed odds market for Elegant Image. 3 runs this campaign have resulted in 3 dominant wins. He's always been a trotter of immense talent and potential, and he's now putting it all together. He's never gone better than he has in the past, and it's great to see for connections. He should just win. He's a lone back row runner. He was far too good for Tender Don when they met a couple of weeks ago. Tender Don looks the only real danger here again. $1.25 Elegant Image, $3.20 for Tender Don. Let's get into the selections. Elegant Image to win and beat Tender Don. The market's got it right for mine. Tender Don's trotting in superb form, but Elegant Image has got an asset that Tender Don hasn't, and that is that flick of the switch acceleration. That's why you'll beat Tender Don again tonight, barring accidents. For the minors, Kazhanov I'll put in for third. He's a grinder, but he's got better with a couple of runs this campaign, and he can give some cheek. And Earl of Mod is a remarkable old veteran who has got to be a place chance, but a little bit like Smoking Up, as his career's gone on, he's lost that little bit of speed, and you're not going to beat Elegant Image without a turn of speed. 8, 7, 2 and 5 from me there in the Scotch Notch Memorial Race 8. Over to the 9th event tonight. This is a heat and final. They ran heats of this last weekend at Melton, and I'm going to go for number 4, Batterwitz. He was good sitting outside of the leader and winning well. I've put him on top, number 4, Batterwitz, to do the work if necessary and win again. Metro from Mel, he led in his qualifying and ran second to Batterwitz. I think that's the strongest of the qualifying races. For third, I'm putting in I'm a Peregrine, number 3. Led and ran third in the heat. I still thought the performance was okay. And if you're looking for a fourth number there, maybe Lonesome Kid, who won what I think might have been one of the easier heats of this series, number 6. So 4, 2, 3, and then number 6 in for third. 4, 2, 3 and 6 in race 9. Quickly over to the last. Got to be honest, not that keen on this race here. If Tuscan Breeze doesn't win, then it becomes a very tricky race. Tuscan Breeze for Jeff Webster, trainer and driver, has been certainly in better races than this. The first up performance was okay behind a very, very smart pacer, and last campaign had a second to Fond Design, and also She's a Runner. That's good enough for me. Going with Tuscan Breeze, number 2 to win. Number 3, Major Charge, wasn't suited by having to do the work outside of the leader last time, and number 1, Casey Isabella, was okay at Yarra Valley last time. But if you're looking for a fourth selection, number 7, Summer of Courage for Craig Demler, unraced, but it's actually a scratching there, the number 7, Summer of Courage. So my apologies, must have been a late scratching there in the last race. So we'll go 2, 3, 1. If you had to put in a fourth selection, it would be number 6, Midnight Lights. So 2, 3, 1 and 6. 2, 3, 1 and 6 from me there in the last. Let's go to the summary of the meeting, remembering that $25,000 jackpot in the quaddie. Best bet of the night, short but sweet, Hilltop Hustler. Couldn't find an absolute standout outside of him. I think he'll just win. He'll be a good one to put in your multis. And as I said, Caribbean Blaster, not your traditional value bet, but when he's not favourite and Smoking Up is, that qualifies as value for mine. So race 2, number 10, Hilltop Hustle, the best. Race 5, number 9, Caribbean Blaster, the value. And the quaddie, in the first leg, race 4, going to tie it down to numbers 1, Maastricht, and number 10, Shake It Mama. Second leg is the free-for-all, so we'll just go with number 3, sorry, it should be, number 3, Smoking Up, and also number 9, Caribbean Blaster, so 3 and 9 there in race 5. In the third leg, 1, 4, 8 and 9, and coming home in race 7, the Melton Plate with numbers 4, 7 and 9. That'll cost you $48 to get the full 100%. $25,000 jackpot. What a great night for the quaddie tonight to celebrate a tremendous meeting, and it all gets underway at 5:28. The highlight, the Melton Plate. Good punting.
This preview brought to you by Harness Racing Victoria.